One of my favorite things I've done this month on the channel is to invite a guest every month to pick something for my TBR. So far this year, I've read some great books picked by Joanna, Theo, Matt from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews, Chaz, Jimmy, and Jonathan. So who's up next? How about you? So when I invited all those booktubers to pick a book for me, the only prompt I gave them was pick something you think I'll love, and it can't be a book one of a series unless book two hasn't been released or it's something I can stop after book one. I didn't want them to pick the first of a 22 book series and then all of a sudden the TBR is clogged for the next 14 months. So you're going to do the same sort of thing. I have about 20 books here in my physical TBR that I'm going to show you, and what I'd like you to do is simply vote. Pick the book that you want me to read most in July. If you want to pick more than one book to vote for, feel free to do that. All you got to do is just put it in the comments section below. This is my physical TBR that fits those parameters. So other books that I might have here on hand that I haven't read that are part of a book series, I'm not going to talk about those. But there are a couple of exceptions of things in book series that can kind of function as standalones in that I could read it and stop. So I'm going to include those as well. So again, 20 books. I'm going to kind of jump in and show you all the books on my physical TBR. You can vote below. All right, these are in no particular order, starting with some Steinbeck, To a God Unknown. Steinbeck is a favorite author of mine. Another one, this is a recent gift from a student. This is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. I had read Slaughterhouse-Five last year and really enjoyed it. So this is another one of his I have not read. A couple works of science fiction next. Some Arthur C. Clarke. This one's been sitting around for a while. Rendezvous with Rama. I think this is a First Contact story. And I have The City in the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke. So the next one is one of those kind of exceptions that's part of a series, but I could read it alone. This is the second book of the Legends of the Condor Heroes by Jin Yong. This is called A Bond Undone, and this edition is gorgeous. I do have the folio edition of book one, and there are 10 of these, but they're not all out yet. That's why I could stop after this one if this is the one that you choose for me to read. Next up, a pretty recent release, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is literary fiction. This is not fantasy, but sounds very, very compelling. Another recent release by one of my auto-buy authors, and that is The Ferryman by Justin Cronin. This is more in the fantasy vein. Another one that was a recent gift, one of the bigger ones here. This is Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. Not read this. Another one released this year, this gorgeous, I backed the Kickstarter, this gorgeous Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is just a gorgeous edition. Look forward to reading this at some point. Maybe it'll be July. You'll have to let me know. Another leatherbound I've had for a while is The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. I loved reading Count of Monte Cristo 2 years ago. It was my book of the year. And this has been on the shelf for about 8 or 9 months or so, maybe even longer. So, Three Musketeers. Next one of my favorite television shows, if not my favorite, is Firefly, and this is Life Science by James Lovegrove. This is a recent birthday gift. So the next one is one of those book series that applies because these are all standalones. This is an omnibus edition of the Conan Chronicles by Robert Jordan. And the first one is called Conan the Invincible. So let me know if you want me to read some Robert Jordan Conan next month. And then another one that was a gift, a musician I greatly admired, and this was a memoir he was working on before he died, and that is The Beautiful Ones by Prince. So there's a memoir option for you voters out there. All right, the next 3 is a priority author for me that I just haven't started yet, but I have 3 selections by Guy Gavriel Kay. I have The Lions of Al Rassan and Tigana and A Song for Arbonne. So 3 potential options for GGK. All right, almost done here. The next one is one of those that's in a book series but functions as a standalone. This has been on the shelf for like a year and a half. And this is Grave Peril, which is the 3rd book of The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Haven't been a fan yet, but I know the series starts slow. So maybe I'll get to this one in July. You'll let me know soon. All right, 5 left. We have by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Buried Giants. I've read one of his before and didn't love it, but love the writing enough to want to read more of his. And I have a couple, 3 self-pub in a row here. We have Jeff McIntyre's The Garden Gnome, and I think this is in Spiffbo. I think he entered this into Spiffbo, so you can vote for The Garden Gnome. Another self-pub, this is some magical realism by Chad Music called Imaginary Friends. And the final self-pub, this one's kind of sci-fi by C.W. Subtle, and this is called Necro. So 3 works of self-pub there. And one left, I have just a memoir by Philip Kennicott called Counterpoint, and it has to deal with mourning and the music of Bach. I think one of his parents was dying, and he wrote this book and learned a work by Bach at the same time. I'm really intrigued by this one. Just read some great reviews. Anyway, went through fast. So put your votes below. I'm really curious to see what you pick for me. My TBR will be out early July. I get back into the country July 1st. So shortly after that, I'll reveal what the winning book is. So thank you for voting. Thank you for indulging me with my physical TBR. You see I have a lot of books ahead of me, but I don't care who wins. I want to read all of these. I'm really excited to see what all of you want to see me talk about most. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter and Goodreads. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.